The red Jeep Wrangler TJ has definitely been showing up to work, but it just hasn't had enough attention. So in this video, we're going to give the Jeep a little bit of a refresh by restoring the hardtop and the fender flares. And along the way, I'll be installing some other stuff that I see fit for this video. So let's get to work. So the top I have on this TJ is a rally top. They're from Southern California, and they make these two-piece tops that are pretty cool. I found this one used on the marketplace for about 700 bucks. And a couple years ago, we went ahead and kind of tried to refresh it with some Flood, this product right here. And for the most part, in the last 2 years, I've been using it. I probably used it about 3 different times. And overall, it's been a great product for the hardtop. But to keep reapplying it, it's a lot of work. You have to take down the old Flood that's on your top and then reapply it. And I figured since this was the 4th time there and I am running low, I was just gonna go ahead and try to paint it this time. So I've got some Rust-Oleum oil-based satin black paint that is roll-on. Bought 2 cans. Hopefully that'll be more than enough for 2 coats on the hardtop and 2 coats on the fender flares. But I figured this video, we'll go ahead and try that out as an option to the Flood, and we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to get some fresh paint on this hardtop. So let's make up some paint and get everything prepped up and ready for paint. So here's the top. You can see that the original color was black, but it's almost white now. That's because the Flood has just been baked, deteriorated from the sun, so it turns almost like a whitish color and it oxidizes and it just looks horrible. And in order to remove it, you have to sand it off or either pressure wash it off, which I'm fortunate enough to have a pressure washer that will kind of just blast it off, most of it, and then I'll come behind with an abrasive Scotch-Brite pad. 3M makes a pretty good scuffing pad. The red color usually indicates that it's a little bit more abrasive, so not only will it help clean off the Flood, it should provide a pretty good scuffed or buffed surface for the paint to adhere. I then decided to remove the latches and rear window. The latches were rusted on, so I had to cut those off. But once I got those off, I was able to clean it really good and get it dried off and then brought into my garage to assess for additional damage. There were some cracks in the fiberglass that I noticed above the windshield. I went ahead and took some fast drying Bondo compound and we just went ahead and filled in those cracks, and that should be a solid repair. So I use blue 3M masking tape. This stuff works pretty good from keeping paint seeping underneath and getting into areas where you don't want paint. Basically taped everything where I don't want paint. Now as far as paint prep, I'm just going to be using some isopropyl alcohol. I've been using it for years before I paint on surfaces. Just make sure you use a clean microfiber towel, something that doesn't shed lint or cotton fibers onto your surface. Whatever you decide to use, just make sure your painting surface is clean. Now as far as the paint goes, I've got it shaken up and mixed up really well in this can. We're going to go ahead and open it and start rolling on the paint. This is a satin black oil-based protective enamel, so it's pretty good stuff. My go-to color, I love satin. It's a really nice tone and it's not like super glossy, you know, really like it as a go-to paint. Now this top has a textured surface, so regardless of the outcome, whether I'm spraying or rolling on the paint, the finished look is going to be very close to the same as the original paint. I'm not really worried about getting a smooth like glass finish or anything like that. That's why I chose this route over spraying. There are some instructions on the back of the can where you can add 15% like reducer or a thinner, and it's totally doable with this paint, so you might want to look into that. There are going to be some things you want to consider for the best results. You know, your drying ambient temperatures, you want to make sure that you're around 75 degrees Fahrenheit, and you don't want a lot of moisture in the air, so just consider that. As far as rolling on the paint, I use a synthetic foam roller. You want one of good quality. You want to have a decent roller. If you're interested in what I'm using, go ahead and check that out. I'll list all the products that I use in this video in the description box below. Now for the back window, there's some hard water spots that are kind of staining the glass. So I'm going to use some products called cleaning vinegar. I think this is pretty good stuff. It is very acidic, and if you let it sit and soak for about 10-15 minutes, it'll just kind of eat away that hard water stains on the glass. And then we'll just go ahead and wipe it down both sides real good and get it installed. So the Jeep is looking better than I think it ever has since we owned it. I've got the fender flares right here that we painted early on in the video, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put them on. See how it looks. Oh yeah, I'm really loving this textured finish to match the top. Looks really good. And there's a company called Supre. I figured we'd just go ahead and test these out. I found them on Amazon. They're LED, and I thought it was pretty cool when they light up in the LEDs. They actually say TJ, and they're just a direct replacement for the incandescent lights. These guys here. So just pop those out and get them installed. Plug that in. If you wanted to, you could probably wrap this around with some black tape around that, and then we'll go ahead and install it. Hook it on and push it on. You will have to supply your own factory hardware, so just keep that in mind. It's just the nut that comes on the original. We've got the one on the right is right, and it also has a sticker saying it's right. And then the one for the left, which I believe is the driver's side, is wrong, but it has the left on it. So I think all they had to do was just flip this guy around, put it on this side like they did on this. But overall, I mean, I think it's going to look pretty cool. So this one goes on this side, and that one goes on this side. So they kind of give you that mirror imaged look. I don't know, we'll have to see how it looks like on the TJ, but that's kind of what it'll look like on the front there. So you do want to make sure that you got these plugged in right. It's going to be directional. That's how you plug it in. And then the green wire on the harness side, and then the blue wire. Just make sure those are in line, and it should work. Go ahead and feed these wires into the housing, like so, and then snap it on so it seals. There you go. And you will have to provide your own hardware off the original lights. Just go ahead and put your screws back on, and you're done. You're going to do this for all the lights, so just make sure they're all plugged in to the right wires, and you should be good. So I've just got power to the turn signals, and they are actually pretty bright even in the daylight. I think they're going to look pretty awesome paired up with the new fender flares and the hardtop being painted. So moving along, I've got this soft upper window for my half doors, and I think they're pretty cool. I have these on my green TJ. These are made by King 4-wheel drive. Pretty cool. You do have to soak them in the sun for about an hour, depending on how hot it is out there. So they're a little bit malleable and stretchy, so you can fit the frame into this canvas piece here. And I am actually having problems where my frames don't really fit up well to the hardtop. So I'm gonna have to modify those anyway. We'll go over to the TJ and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here is the upper soft window frame for the half door. And as you can see, right here we have a pretty big problem where the corner doesn't mate well with the hardtop. So instead of moving the hardtop and trying to adjust it, we need to modify the upper frames so that this door can shut. So this problem is on both sides where the frame doesn't fit up well to the door surround and the front windshield here. And I think I got the problem solved. You can see I've kind of bent this part of the round stock forward, and that kind of pulled the whole radius into the hardtop area where it turns here. And I think I got that figured out. All I had to do was pull the frame offset on the ground and kind of just pull it forward and put my foot on it and bend it. And it actually bent into the shape I needed. So I didn't have to cut or weld or modify anything. The only other thing I had to do was right in this section here, I did have to sand the backside of the round stock, and then in this corner right here, because when I opened the door, this part was hitting. You can see where I it's kind of faint, but you can see where I kind of sanded that down. So I think I solved the problem with the frames. Now I just got to go ahead and get our soft windows installed on the frames and see how they look. Looks really good. Let's see if it shuts. Awesome. I like the fitment. A bit tight around here, but as long as I can open and close the door, I'm really happy. Awesome. Now I've got full soft upper windows for the hardtop, and I really like how the door is now sealing, and I think those modifications were just necessary to get everything working and looking pretty good. There are also tinted windows. I like how they match the rear tinted windows up front, and it should be a little bit cooler in here during the summertime or even in the spring. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. We're going to end it here. The turn signals, the hardtop, and I really was even going to buy new fender flares because they were just looking old and faded. I'm glad I spent the extra time and got those painted to match the hardtop, and overall I thought it was a pretty cool refresher video that I like sharing with you. If you guys like this content and want to see more, stay tuned. This is actually going to be the first video for a series of videos building up this Jeep for the Rubicon and some harder trails. We're going to transition this Jeep into the phase 2 of the build, where I'm going to try to my best to keep it as stock looking as possible, but also have some good capabilities off-road. So with that said, I'm going to end the video here. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you on the next video. Have a good day. Peace out.